Chosen one, this is going to sound intense, but there is a reason your life has felt so strange lately. Not because you were falling apart, but because something was being decided about you behind the scenes. Something bigger than you realize. While you were doubting yourself, while people misunderstood you, while doors kept closing, heaven was not being silent. Heaven was making a decision. And when that decision becomes visible in your life, some people will be stunned, including you. If this message already feels personal, comment "chosen" below. Sometimes one small act of faith is how you step into what was already being prepared for you. Because in a moment, I'm going to show you why the pressure, the delay, and the confusion were never the full story. In fact, they may have been the clearest sign that heaven had already chosen your next season. Chosen ones, what heaven decided about you will shock you. Beloved, I want to speak to you closely for a moment, heart to heart. Heaven did not just watch you survive what you have been through, it answered. Something moved in the unseen, and your place in the Spirit quietly changed. This was not wishful thinking or passing emotion. A real decision was made about you in heaven, with intention and certainty, and I believe you can already feel the evidence of it in your everyday life. Haven't you noticed it? The mornings do not feel the same anymore. You are not waking up in pure survival mode the way you used to. There is a steadiness in you now, a calm strength, as if something deep inside your spirit has finally come to rest in truth. I have seen seasons like this before, both in my own life and in the lives of people who had no idea heaven was moving on their behalf until the fruit started showing up in ordinary days. Heaven has been watching your life very closely, not with condemnation, not waiting for you to break, but with care. Every hidden sacrifice mattered. Every quiet act of restraint mattered. The moments you thought were small were not small at all. The day you stayed silent instead of seeking revenge. The day you showed up wounded, exhausted, and still chose integrity. Those were sacred moments. They were tests of your character. As Psalm 66:10 says, "For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver." And now that refining is beginning to show, if your life were a song, most people only heard the polished parts. They noticed the lines that sounded strong, hopeful, and easy to admire. But heaven listened more deeply than that. Heaven leaned close to the parts you almost whispered, the pauses where your voice trembled, the unfinished places nobody else understood. That is where your real depth was formed. That is where your true sound was born. What caught heaven's attention was never the image you managed to maintain. It was the way pain did not harden you. It was the way betrayal did not poison your spirit. It was the way suffering could have made you cruel, but instead, it made you deeper. I have learned that some of the strongest people are not the loudest ones. They are the ones who stay sincere when pretending would be easier. You did not use truth as a weapon, even after learning how sharp it could be. You chose gentleness without becoming weak. You chose strength without becoming cold. That carried weight in the unseen. That is why your position shifted. Spiritual authority is not handed to the most impressive person in the room. It is entrusted to the person who can carry pain without losing their soul. Heaven looked at your life and said, they can carry more without losing who they are. You may have thought you were barely holding yourself together, but heaven saw something else. Heaven saw maturity being formed. Heaven saw leadership taking shape. Heaven saw depth being built in you in places where applause could never reach. Look back at the season you just came through. You prayed while confused, not while everything made sense. You stayed disciplined when your emotions were unreliable. You forgave people who never even asked for forgiveness. You rebuilt your peace slowly, one quiet morning at a time. That was not weakness. That was authority growing in real time. Your spirit learned how to govern what once governed you, and heaven never overlooks that kind of evidence. James 1:12 says, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life." Your perseverance was not only shaping your future, it was teaching heaven that you could be trusted. There comes a moment when responsibility changes quietly before it changes publicly. Some of the biggest spiritual shifts do not happen in front of crowds. They happen in silence. It is like a soldier being called into a private room with no audience and no ceremony, and a higher authority places new insignia before them and says, "From this moment on, your responsibility changes." That is what has happened in the Spirit. You were brought forward. Your history stood behind you. Every hidden tear, every act of restraint, every honest choice was reviewed by heaven, and the verdict was simple. Now they are ready. This is why things feel different, even if you have not fully found language for it yet. Situations that used to drain you do not reach as deeply as they once did. Conversations that once stirred anxiety now meet a calmer version of you. You may have noticed that when tension enters a room, peace often returns when you speak, and you are not even trying to control the room. That is not pride, that is spiritual elevation. That is what promotion feels like before it becomes visible. It looks like moving slower, needing less validation, losing interest in gossip, and no longer feeling the urge to explain yourself to everyone. It looks like becoming the safe place you once wished someone had been for you. That is one reason heaven raised your rank. While others chased visibility, you built character. While others chased approval, you gathered wisdom. While others performed faith for attention, you lived it quietly, and God saw all of it. Proverbs 4:18 says, "The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day." That is what is happening to you now. Your life is beginning to line up with who you truly are. And with that shift comes responsibility. When heaven entrusts you with more, it does not only release comfort, it releases assignment. Favor always carries weight. You may notice it first in the way people respond to you. Someone who used to dismiss your words now pauses and listens. Someone who used to joke at your expense no longer finds the same opening. Not because you became harsh, but because something in you no longer agrees with being diminished. Your spirit is no longer participating in its own shrinking. And yes, that will make some people uncomfortable. The ones who preferred you uncertain, apologetic, always over-explaining yourself, may say you have changed. But what if you are not becoming cold at all? What if you are finally becoming aligned? This new level will show up clearly in your life. First, in what you can no longer tolerate. Old habits, old roles, old unhealthy dynamics will begin to feel foreign to you. Not dramatic, not tempting, just wrong. You will not need long explanations for why you are stepping away. Your spirit will already know. Second, in who begins to come to you. People may open up with surprising honesty. Family members may bring you their real pain. Strangers may say, "I don't know why, but I feel safe talking to you." That kind of safety is not something you perform. It is something you carry. As James 3:17 says, "The wisdom from above is first pure, then peace-loving, considerate, full of mercy." That wisdom is starting to mark your presence. Third, in how you hear God. Not necessarily louder, but clearer. A steadier inner knowing. Stay here. Leave that alone. This way, not that way. It will feel grounded, not chaotic. That is guidance. But hear me carefully. Promotion in the Spirit does not mean life becomes easy overnight. Sometimes it means your words matter more, your decisions carry more weight, and your influence reaches deeper. That is why heaven waited until now. God watched how you handled pain when nobody applauded, and now He is watching how you handle influence. You are not meant to use your story to shame others. You are not meant to use confidence to belittle anyone. The weight is greater now, so what you do with it matters more. You may also notice the way your inner voice has changed. There was a time when you replayed conversations, questioned yourself, and tried to manage people's opinions in your head. But now something in you is settling. Now you can say, "I know who I am. God knows who I am. That is enough." And you move forward. That is not arrogance. That is identity becoming rooted. These moments opening in front of you are not random. They are assignments that finally fit who you have become. Do not talk yourself out of them. Do not shrink back because an older version of you feels unqualified. That version was not invited into this season. This version was. Now you have to learn to walk like someone already chosen, not someone still begging to be picked. That changes everything. It means you stop chasing rooms that do not honor you. You stop explaining basic respect to people determined to misunderstand you. You stop spending precious energy proving growth to people attached to your past. You do not need to perform this new rank. You only need to live like someone God trusts. And that is the deepest part of all this, trust. God trusted you with pain, and you did not waste it. Now He is trusting you with honor, and He is asking for the same faithfulness. So when you feel the weight of this shift, the clarity, the responsibility, the new steadiness in your spirit, remember what is happening. You are not here by accident. You were seen. You were measured. You were found faithful. Heaven has already made its decision about you, and your life is beginning to catch up to it. If this reached you deeply, type Amen in the comments as your way of receiving the grace and responsibility God is placing on your life.